Hey everyone, this is Processing Pixels, but you can call me Ed. This is going to be a different video from what I planned to post onto this channel, but I thought it was fitting. As an intro, you're just seeing a little cute intro I made as a quick animation before we hop into basically just a slideshow of photos of past pixel art creations that I've made. Let's just go ahead and hop on into that. So this first image you're seeing is literally the first pixel art piece I made out of Perler beads. I have been doing pixel art for a good while, more in the format of pulling things from the internet and then making them in like Minecraft and stuff. A little bit of random stuff I've done on my own designs, like on my phone and everything. I've never really used any pixel art software. This past month or two, I've been getting into Sprite. If that's correct pronunciation, I probably should have checked up on their website. They literally have a thing designated like how to properly pronounce it. But anyway, so I had a joy of pixel art for a very long time, and I messed with Perler beads when I was real little, I believe. Don't really have a ton of memory of them, but I just saw them randomly and was like, you know what, I should do that. I need a random hobby. I started looking into it towards like the beginning of November of 2019, and by the end of November I had gotten a good bit of my beads and everything and pegboards and so on and so forth. And so it was close to Christmas, and I decided, all right, let's go ahead and make a snowman. I have an affinity for snowmen, which is something you won't know, but I'll probably pull it out somewhere. And I made a, simple snowman sprite. I'm pretty sure I just found on the internet. I don't believe I created this. I don't want to steal anyone's art. I won't be able to provide a ton of the art and everything. If I'm being honest, I just kind of pulled it from the internet and made some of these things. And then some of them are obviously from games that I give credit to. So I apologize for that. So I'm not going to claim any of the art here. But anyway, so I made a snowman, and from there, it was a little bit of practice for how to iron and everything, and I went from there. Moving on from there, my household loves Stardew. I had played it since it first came out. I have a love of grindy games and farm sims and stuff in that vein, so I was in love with the game already, and I played it a great deal. As my household kind of got into it more and more, around Christmas time, I was like, well, let's make something in that vein. So one of the chickens' names that came up a good bit was NoName. So I decided to make a Stardew chicken and put a little Christmas hat on him, and then basically just make a basic text box underneath him saying NoName is in the name, and he's kind of like on a pedestal for that. So this is I believe my second creation. I started branching out pretty quickly into broad concept pieces and everything. You'll see that I made a lot of presents and everything for people, and I tried to build on their interests. And the majority of pixel art, or Perler beads rather, I have made so far are specifically as gifts. But they luckily fall into a lot of my own interests. I surround my people with share interests, and they've passed interests along to me, so I'm familiar with a lot of things, so I can kind of build on it. So moving on, we have another Stardew piece. So this was actually a broader piece I began making. It related to, once again, a broader piece where I made a bunch of the animals, and I basically made every variation of chicken. And in this case, I just made the void chicken and the void egg. I ended up not using the void egg for it, but I still enjoyed it. And once again, the photo quality of this isn't going to be great in a lot of these photos. I saved these photos more for my own just catalog in a sense. I never planned with sharing these and turning them into a video. Like I said, I started this in 2019, but it's turned into a bigger interest, and I have some ideas for how I can kind of share it with people that might also enjoy it. So I wanted to do that, and I figured a catalog of what I've already done would be a nice way to kind of shine some light into who I am as a person with my interests and stuff, and also just in general. So I apologize for the photo quality, and it only gets worse from here. So this is that broader piece I was talking about. A friend of mine was getting very into Stardew as well, so I made her a Stardew piece for Christmas, and her farm name was Mewville, a Pokemon lover, if you can't tell, hence the pink Mew. That was my reasoning behind that, to give it a little bit of contrast from the rest of the words, and an animal lover. So I made basically all the chickens, a little chick on her head, and then the dinosaur cat. She's a cat lover on top of the Mewville to make it a little bit jokey, and then just a nice cow. Originally with this piece, I remember I was going to do a Stardew background, but I began deciding to focus more on like the main pieces kind of, and I did a decent bit of canvas pieces during this time. So a canvas was kind of my way to just do a flat color, make it not necessarily the focus as much as the main pieces, and then create a whole piece from there. So you'll see a few more canvas pieces throughout. So here we have a Pikachu dressed up as a Flygon. I made this for my another friend, and her favorite Pokemon is Flygon, and she randomly found this pixel art on the internet and sent it to me, and knew I was getting into Perler beads, and half jokingly said, "You should make this for me," and I ended up deciding to do so. And then if you're wondering about the background choice, it is based off the crystal ball in I'm not the full-on Poke nerd like she is. It's the crystal ball from one of the Pokemon movies. I want to say the third one, where the little girl has hold on. Okay, I was correct. So it is the third movie, and I wanted to remember names. I was blanking on names horribly. So Molly in the movie, Entei basically acts as her dad and like grants her wishes and stuff. But she had a special Pokeball that looked like kind of like a crystal ball, and it basically had like a dark blue line across like the center, as opposed to the normal like black and like red and white outline of Pokeballs. And then a kind of turquoise watercolor blue. So I tried to capture that a little bit. I thought it fit well with the color scheme of the Pikagon, as I've labeled it. So yeah, that's my reasoning for the background and everything. And maybe I just gave you a little bit of Pokemon knowledge to expand it even more. It was in the back of my brain, but I wasn't prepared to fully remember it, and I'm sorry. And now we have Grumpy Cat. I made this. All these are going to be made for friends and stuff, pretty much. My friend loves Grumpy Cat. And once again, expanding like the concept a little bit. I didn't want to make just a Grumpy Cat sprite, so friends vulgar will. I figured they'll get a kick of this. So I made a ball of yarn and then Grumpy Cat next to it, just hating it, and I bleeped it out for YouTube reasons, but I'm sure you can discern what it exactly says. So bleep your yarn is what I have to say today. So this was made for a couple, and they both love Zelda in general. At this time, they were getting into Breath of the Wild a great deal. So I decided to make basically, these are the Breath of the Wild style sprites, just in pixel art form. So I made the Triforce at the top, one of the stylizations of it, and then basically 3 heart canisters, and then a couple of rupees in the corners. A deep lore, which I don't even think I told them, is I actually made the yellow rupee, because I believe that, if I remember correct, that is the highest total or highest amount of rupee you can get. I made that as a little bit of a jab, because one person was getting much more money than the other, and they were joking about it a great deal. So I made a silent underhand joke at one of theirs, or one of their expenses, and I don't think they knew or realized. So moving on. So I don't want to offend anyone. I am not a person that cares about brands very much. I have certain types of foods and everything I like, and that's about as far as I'll take it. If I find a brand that normally fulfills me in a certain way, then I will go after them, or go for their products. But past that, like, if I find something better, then whether that be money wise or style wise, look wise, purpose wise, whatever, I will not be like, I gotta stick with them. And I also don't care about trends. So this was made for a younger family member that is very much into brands, especially clothes wise. So I made this as a jokey thing towards them. You can wear what you wear. I've bought them probably a few pairs of clothes and everything, and supported the habit, so I can't really say anything. I'm a jeans and t-shirt kind of guy with no brand label, so that's my cross to bear. This was made for another family member that was, or I believe still is, a BTS fan. I did it doesn't really shine through in this photo, and the lighting has to be right. I kind of did a dark blue and black, but I probably could have done it a little bit better on the canvas, so it ends up just being like a black canvas, maybe even like a barely navy blue. So just all the sprayed heads of BTS went around, and then their logo in the center. So simple, but they liked it. And here we have Captain America and Rogue, and I believe this is meant to be, I've seen these sprites a bunch, so I believe they're meant to be in the Mega Man style. This is just some of my friends' favorite characters in terms of, comic books and stuff, so I decided to make those. This is pulling, once again, from people's favorites. So I basically got 3 of that couple's favorite Pokemon, and made 2 different variations for them, and then put them on a Pokemon canvas, basically the way I painted it. So that's the explanation for this. It also kind of drives me into, maybe I could talk about, if you are interested in Pokemon, then one of my planned series for this channel is to make all the Pokemon sprites. There we go. And these sprites, I don't plan to just, make the standard forms you see. I want to expand on that a little bit. So I want to make the first generation original sprites from Pokemon Red and Blue in this case. And then they were in black and white, so then I want to colorize them and then compare them to the new age sprites that most people are familiar with now, just for fun. Make all the sprites. This kind of will fulfill a goal of having all the Pokemon sprites, or at least the first 151, and also making it a little bit more interesting for you all. This will be good for all of my Nightmare Before Christmas fans. This is meant to be a coaster set, which we'll see in the next slide how it fully is. But basically, we have some of the main characters from Nightmare Before Christmas pulled into a coaster form, just circular. We have Oogie Boogie. They glow in the dark. I did get the glow in the dark Perler beads. We have Zero. We have Jack, and then we have Sally. Sally is the most slightly deranged looking of them, for sure, which is no offense to the original artist. I didn't make any variations, and I'm not sure I could have done much better. But overall, I really enjoyed this piece. I actually have a few other coaster ideas of my own that I would like to make at some point, especially with the spooky season coming along. So here we have the coaster holder, which is in the style of the classic print that you see a lot from Nightmare Before Christmas of Jack on the Hill. So it's just yellow and black, but it looks pretty good overall. That was not my design, once again. Just want to make that clear. But I think the piece together looks really good, and is a nice little homage to Nightmare Before Christmas, especially for someone that really enjoys the movie. So this was a piece made for my grandmother, actually. She enjoys elephants, and I ended up putting a family picture in this. It is meant to be a picture frame. There's a few different ways you can do picture frames and stuff. The elephant was a design I pulled, and I got pretty into trying to do stand-up pieces and stuff. You saw with the comic book sprites with Rogue and Captain America, I tried to do the inserts with just a tile basically, and then with this I did the pegs basically. I've done it with a few other pieces, and I decided I wanted to mess with that a little bit, and it came out to be a cute picture frame. Now we're back to Stardew, but hear me out. This is probably top 5 of my Perler bead creations so far. It is a Junimo Christmas topper, which you will now see that it works. So that is our little Junimo on top of our tree. For 2019 Christmas, we had him as our tree topper, and he was glorious. I did have some issues where I made him too heavy, especially for my cone that attached him to the tree. So I fixed him up and improved him as Christmas went along in 2019. You'll see in 2020 I decided not to attach him to the tree. I didn't take the time to make another cone and try and fix him up. So maybe at some point I will do that. But he was still displayed in all his glory. And you can see here how he was displayed. This was Christmas of 2020. Just set out on a coffee table to the side, basically. And being held up by a little owl. We moved him around some throughout the Christmas season. And like I said, he was displayed in all his glory. And also this is a little bit, if not a much better lit photo. But I was very happy with this as a tree topper. It's still got the star spirit, literally, but we have a cute little nerdy Junimo, and it's Stardew related. Gotta love it. And here we just have a basic Pokeball. One of my ideas is at some point I would like to make a full set of Pokeballs, basically, and do an Easter egg style hunt. Just make a bunch of them. Probably don't really have anyone young enough in the family anymore, and I don't know if I can legally group together a bunch of kids to do a egg hunt out of Pokeballs. I don't think I have access like that, or a community, so this dream may never come to fruition. But if anyone out there has family members or friends that would be willing to group together into at least 30 people to get a egg hunt of Pokeballs, basically a Pokeball hunt, it'd be pretty incredible. I mean, instead of walking through the tall grass, it'd be cool to find Squirtle, Bulbasaur, blah, blah, blah. But what if you found a Pokeball and opened it up and got like 3/4 or chocolate bar. I mean, maybe not on the same level, but as good as we'll get in this wonderful world we live in. So here, it's got a cute sloth. This was a random birthday gift I made. I did the straight edge on the side to try and make it to where it could be like attached to like trim or something, if you do it right. So that way, especially wood trim, if you had like wood trim or something in your house, you could make it to where it looks like, you know, you got a little jutted out portion and a sloth hanging from a limb. So that was the full concept there. So this creation was meant to act as basically a weather vane, was the idea. It was hard to put, you know, north, south, east, west with the limited space I was trying to work with. But I think it, you know, it obviously it still gets the point across pretty well. I was pretty happy with it. It was the first time I used clear beads to attach some portions, and I have used Art Cal's mini clear beads at this point, and I've used Perler's large clear beads more so, and they're much more of like a milky translucent, so I don't really like using them unless I really have to in parts where you know, designs don't work out. But I've also just used the tape method to shift things a little bit, which can be time consuming, but it makes things look better. So I could have done that for this, but I decided to try the clear, and I was still pretty happy with it. So here we have one of my largest pieces I've made, especially in like size and scope. This is just a random old like comforter that I had from like when I was a kid, and it almost took up the entire space for like, you know, like a twin comforter. So pretty large. I didn't get into the mini bead scene yet, so I used full beads. But this was basically, I used Reroll, which is an app that I believe is on Apple and iPhone, or Apple and iPhone, Apple and you know, Google or Android. And it basically, they have pixel art D&D characters that you can make through like preset things. You can make adjustments and everything. So I made my my friend's character. I asked her for basically like a random description one day, and she was a ranger shifter. So I included a detachable bow and bandana, which you'll see on this next slide. So slight shift. So I made the bandana and bow detachable. I wasn't super happy with the face. I think this was more on me with color variation that I had options to, unless kind of like the design of the face through the app. You can see there's a lot of blue. Her favorite color is blue. So I made a D20 stand, blue cape, and then blue hair. And I tried to do, they didn't have like a shifter option. It is a paid service, but they do have a free version, so it might have been they either didn't have it, or I didn't really want to pay, if I'm being honest. So I tried to give them her character like a kind of an ear, looking at reference photos of shifters and everything from D&D and people's like some of their fan art. But even she had issues finding like art and stuff for shifters, or stuff that she enjoyed at least. I guess they aren't very common in D&D. I'm not super in that space, just a little bit. I'm into tabletop stuff, but haven't been given the chance to play too much. So then I took an old gamey font and added that in, and then just some random sprites at the bottom, you know, little demons or imps, and then a Cthulhu baby monster, and then a lich. You can see here I started getting very big into my scope. This was, I did kind of like design and stuff for a couple months, coming up with random ideas. Didn't do too much purling. This was the middle of 2020, roughly, or in the middle of 2020 I did do a ton of purling. And then towards, you know, the like second or third quarter rather, I started getting back into it and doing it more. So this is a Princess Bride piece. It started out as a much larger idea, but I kind of dumbed it down in a way. I took the original cover of Princess Bride, the original cover, the book cover rather, and took that font and pixelated it, and then took a, as you can see here, I took the ridges around the side of the book and tried to stylize that into a square shape, basically. Dumbed it down a little bit to create this border, and then I have the font here. I ended up, you can see there's a paint smudge, or a glue smudge rather, underneath the B. I cleaned that up with paint and everything afterwards, and the border shifted around a little bit. I ended up using the tape method because it was just too difficult to iron without doing that, but some stuff got shifted around. I tried to fix it as much as possible. If I did it again, I feel like I would do much better and possibly change out the tape a little bit. I used painter's tape, but for whatever reason, the beads were not being friendly with me and sticking. So the border got messed up a little bit, but this was one of the first pieces I did where I basically took a static image and used a pixel software to pixelate it and stuff, and then worked from there to design it. And it's Princess Bride, so you gotta love it. Here we have a, if you're familiar with Trick or Treat, it is a slasher movie, and I basically made a mug out of Perler beads using just circle rings and building them up, stacking them, and then doing a side or a top-down order of my beads to where I can make a actual design inside of the mug. Came out pretty good. I definitely enjoyed the concept, and I would like to make more of these. I think it makes things a little bit more interesting, especially working with smaller sprites. And if you're if you're a mug lover, then I think this is a cool way to have like quote-unquote custom mugs that you can't necessarily drink out of. Perler beads, and I believe Art Cow as well. I'm not sure about Hama and the few other brands are actually food safe. And I know there's like Mod Podge that's supposed to be food safe and stuff, so theoretically you could make it to where you could drink this, or drink out of this, at least with cold beverages. I don't know if I'd risk with really hot beverages or with boiling water, but I considered it definitely before I finished this piece. So this was me going back to Stardew. I started getting into it again. This was towards, if you're familiar with Stardew, they did a big update last year. So I started playing it again a good bit. And a friend of mine was also getting into it as well. So I made this, or these little sprites and everything from some of her favorite things and everything. And then it was a broader piece. I actually need to finish it in some way. She has received it, but I did not finish it entirely due to shipping issues during 2020, which I'm sure everyone was familiar with. So the pieces got to me late, and this was meant to be a Christmas present, so I did everything I could, even though it wasn't finished. So here we have the Stardew Valley banner from the fair during the fall in Stardew. This was a interesting thing to build out, just because it's definitely a little bit difficult to get close up and look at all the details and everything, and I wanted to make it look as good as possible. I feel like this photo changed out, the reference photo changed out the font a little bit of the Stardew banner, but I might just be misremembering. And I think I had some color matching issues, so I went with this. And you can read it pretty well, and the photo does it pretty good justice. This one actually had decent lighting. And then you can see on the top, we got our little friendly hat salesman, and that was just a cute little quote-unquote Easter egg I threw in there, and I thought he fit perfectly onto the banner. So he's just saying hello to you, and he's, I think it would be pretty adorable to have him kind of be part of the community more. As far as I know, he never shows up really in any events. So seeing him kind of peek over the banner during the fair or something would be hilarious. So that was my little Easter egg, as I said. This is a piece, 3D piece I pulled off the internet, of just cute little owl sitting on a stump. This was made for an owl lover, so it made sense. Especially they were more into cutesy owls and everything, less the realistic ones. This piece was fun. This was a intricate 3D piece, one of the first that I have ever done. But you could find this on the internet pretty easily, and I've seen some other pieces I'm pretty sure is made by the same person, and their design tutorials are very good just through, singular sheets. Sticking with the cylinder theme, I made a mug, and I decided to make a trash can. This was in reference to Jokes with a Friend that I made the Stardew Valley banner for. She would pull out trash cookies. So I made a Stardew stylized trash can, and then put trash cookies inside of there. It's a little inside joke, but pretty cute. It wouldn't surprise me if other people's friends are constantly handing them trash food. So if you're into Perler beads, I completely support you stealing this idea and making it a little bit of a joke with one of your friends. And we are winding down to the end. This is one of my latest pieces that I did. I have been pretty busy with school, so after Christmas I didn't do a ton of beading. And then towards the middle of this year I decided to do a present through beads. So this was a birthday present, and I basically made a good bit of interests related to the person. This was my way to kind of do multiple designs since I hadn't beaded in so long. So I made two pin cases. Some of these are obviously too large for pins, but not super large. So some are actually meant to be pins, some are meant to just be displayed inside of this pin case and kind of hold space. So we have Beetlejuice, we have Scooby-Doo, we have some Stardew designs, we have random little things, we have a little Eevee in there, we have the Labyrinth. The center crow is from BioShock Infinite, from one of the Vigors. And then moving on to the next one, we have Coraline, we have Hal's Moving Castle, the little scarecrow, just a random heart. We have the jersey from a favorite character from Haikyuu. We have the mushroom from Undertale. We have some more Stardew sprites. We have Perry the Platypus. We have a Chocobo, and Hawkeye, and a few other things. So like I said, just a little bit of everything. This was my way to hit kind of multiple interests, because I didn't have a grand idea for a design or anything. But came out really good. I was happy with it. I enjoyed making the pins. I do not have the pictures here, but I made them a little bit special with how I constructed them, which I'm going to get into at some point in a later video. But anyway, I'm just going to leave this slide here unless I decide to make a outro animation. I have an idea for the intro animation similar to the one at the beginning, but I'm not sure if I'll have time to work on it. And this is meant to be kind of a long but quick to edit intro video. Alright, hey everyone, this is Ed from the future. I recorded all those explanations in one sitting, and my outro ended up being very long-winded and unnecessary. So basically, I want to thank you for watching. If you did actually watch through all of that, I plan to put timestamps if possible of each thing in case you're just looking for a specific thing and come across the video and you're like, oh, that sounds cool to me. But anyway, so basically I just want to say this is a different video from what I will normally be posting. It's a weird intro video, I know, in a sense, but I want to get something posted to the channel and display my experience in a sense. But anyway, for what's possible with this channel is I plan to do a Pokemon series, like I mentioned. So taking, you know, the red and blue sprites from first generation and taking the black and white versions, turning them into beads, colorizing them, turning them into beads, and then taking the old school, or rather new school sprites and doing them as normal. That will basically serve as a kind of like comparison shot for all of them, what it would look like if the new or the old sprites were colorized, and they're definitely a much different style than today's sprites, and even anything we've ever really had again. So I think that'll be interesting. And then the other big one is going to be basically I plan to build like a Minecraft terrarium out of Perler beads. So as opposed to just doing Minecraft tutorials, I would like to do Minecraft tutorials on top of slowly building, like I said, a terrarium basically out of them with you all. And that will allow like community input and everything for like what you want to see, and also see like the development of a full-on space in a sense. So by terrarium, my first thing I plan to build is a birch tree with some grass. So from there, I will probably have to build more grass so I can actually lay things down on it. So as opposed to just, let's say I built a Minecraft Steve and then this birch tree and just set them next to each other on a shelf. That would be cool still, but I think it would be even cooler if, you had a Minecraft Steve and then he was actually standing on legitimate like Minecraft grass, and then a house behind him and some other like flora and fauna and mobs and various other structures from Minecraft. So I hope that sounds interesting to everyone. And then from there, I plan to post a few video game sprites just in general. Maybe playing a game, finding some cool sprites, and then getting input as to what you would like to see turned into a bead. And basically meaning with that is, for example, with Stardew, if I were to play Stardew, and I found some random sprite that I was like, oh, that's really cute, and in this case, let's just say I never played Stardew, then I'd be like, all right, I'm going to put that on the list, and then I come across, 3 or 4 other things, and then take a poll, or just choose one to make, and then I will show a basic tutorial and what beads and everything to use to make that yourself. That's the main idea there. But instead of using more popular games, I would like to do a spotlight of some in more underground, quote-unquote, video games or indie games, and then displaying them. But yeah, that's the gist. This is still pretty long-winded, but I think I get my point across much more. Once again, thanks for watching, everyone, and I will catch you later.